Okay, good morning everybody, it's Mike and thanks for joining us this morning. Kicking off another week. This week I want to tell you about something special that happened recently. Recently I attended a mastermind meeting of 31 of the top agents from around the US and Canada, and there were some really powerful people in the room, people doing really amazing things. There were individual agents, there were some agents that had teams. It was a pretty broad mixture. They came from every corner of North America, and one of the things that was interesting was they were all doing it different ways. Their areas of focus, their specialties, their target audiences were just all over the place, which is what I personally believe. I personally never found that one way is the only way to do it, no matter what guru out there is saying that there's only one way to do it. There's not. There's the way that works best for you. And that's what each of us have to find. And that's why I'm pretty passionately committed to helping you find that. If you'll spend the time with me and work with me, I won't stop until we find that path to success for you. But let me tell you about what happened at this event. On the first morning when we walked in, they handed each of us a piece of paper and they said, we want everybody to write down the top 5 factors that you feel influenced your career more than anything else. And then they took that up and they spent the rest of the day tabulating it. And the next morning when we came in, they said, okay, we want to share with you the results of what you all shared with us. And they had taken the entire group of 31 and they put together all their responses and they came up with the top 5 of the top 5. The interesting thing, they said, was there really weren't more than 7 or 8 different ones from the entire room. Pretty much the entire room said the same thing in a little bit different order of priority, which I found interesting. Here's the commonality that all 31 people had. They pretty much all thought that the same 5 factors had influenced their career the most. So what I want to do this week, each morning, Monday through Thursday this week, I want to share with you what we learned from that meeting because I found it fascinating. So this morning I'm going to stop. Well, let's just tell you what all 5 are right now. How about if I do that? Number 1, mindset. Mindset. Number 2, scheduling. Number 3, coaching. Number 4, marketing. Number 5, support. What was interesting to me of that top 5 is that nobody's talking about the little trick or the little gimmick that they use in their business, the place they buy their leads from. No, none of that. The little secret email or direct mail piece that they send out, or the ad or the billboard or the radio commercial, that thing that like changed everything for them. Matter of fact, out of the top 10 responses from the entire group, nobody mentioned any of that at all. It's really interesting what they did say. Mindset, scheduling, coaching, marketing, and support. The number 1 response was mindset. I'm going to start with that this morning and tell you a little bit about what I heard from the group when they opened it up to discussion. Why is this so important? And number 1, they said, well, nothing else can flow until you get your head right. Until you start seeing the industry and your life and yourself from the correct vantage point, none of that other stuff matters. You can have the greatest schedule in the world, but you won't stick to it. You won't, because your mind's all wrong. You can have the best coaching, you can hire the best coaching. Most of them won't want to work with you, and you won't be open to it. Why? Because your head's not in the right place. You're not looking at things right. Marketing, your marketing is going to be very narcissistic, self-absorbed, all about you, which disconnects you from the consumer. Why? Because your head's all screwed up. You're not seeing it from the right point of view. You don't have your mindset right. Support. Support won't matter to you until you get your head right, because you'll say crazy things to yourself like, well, I can just do it quicker myself. or you won't be able to deal with other people. You won't be able to leverage yourself. You won't be able to take advantage of the support until you get your head right. Until you get your head right, you're going to say a lot of crazy, incorrect things. And you know, I'm listening to this and I'm going, that's exactly right. It's exactly right. That's exactly what happened to me in my career. Until I could get my mindset right, until I could see things from a different vantage point, I couldn't leverage myself. I didn't even know what it meant. I would say things like, oh, it's just easier for me to do it myself. And when, on the rare instance that I was willing to delegate and to try to take advantage of some of the support that I had created for myself, I expected everybody else, I held everybody else to a standard that I wasn't willing to hold myself to, as if I never make a mistake. So I would watch for the first time that they did, and when they did, I would just go, see, that's why I can't delegate anything, because they screw it up. My mindset was all wrong. I didn't come at it from the right angle. And all my marketing, I was a victim. And I frame things in a victim-y way. And you do too. You do. We're going to talk about that a little bit. One of the things that the group said in discussion about mindset was, you know, there's so many bad and negative influences out there. It's seemingly that there is a force that is created to work against us, to drag us down into this. TV and radio, family and friends, just bad influences. Bad influences, some of them, not all. Almost all media, though, is a bad divisive influence. The group said, you know, until we started surrounding ourselves with voices that would enlighten us and challenge us, until we started surrounding ourselves with those kind of voices and got the others as far away from us as possible, nothing really changed. We had to get our mindset right, which means we have to get away from those voices and start surrounding ourselves with people that do challenge us, that do enlighten us, that do cause us to go, maybe I could think about this from a different point of view. They talked about following inspirational thought leaders. And I'm thinking back over the course of my career, and I'm thinking what a huge influence people like Tony Robbins and Darren Hardy were on my career. Why? They got me to think differently. They got me to own more of my shit, and they got me to think differently about the forces in the world that were surrounding me. And until you do, not much is going to change, folks. Not the secret email, not the magic ad, none of that stuff. Even if it was out there, it's not, but even if it was, you wouldn't be able to handle it because your mind's not right. In discussion, the point was driven home again, and until you get your mind right, the other four factors just aren't going to matter very much. And that's why mindset was number one. You won't create and stick to an effective schedule. You won't take advantage of the coaching that might be around you. You won't get how to market yourself effectively. You'll be a victim. You will. You'll say things like, oh, these leads suck, or buyers are liars. And you know me, if you say stuff like that around me, we're going to get it on. Buyers aren't liars. They're not. But maybe some salespeople are weak and ineffective. Buyers are just consumers. They're amateurs. They don't know how to express themselves in a professional way. Hey, you know what? When I go to my doctor's office, I'm an amateur. I don't know how to speak the lingo. I don't know how to diagnose myself. I don't know how to correctly explain in medical terms. I just know that something's bothering me. I leave it up to the medical staff to interpret that in their own world, but I'm not a liar because I didn't know how to express it to them completely. But until I get my mindset right, I'm going to interpret things like that. Support, we talked all last week about what support looks like. But support won't matter to me because I won't know how to use it until I get my mindset right. So you might be saying, okay, Mike, so I'm not going to argue with you about this, but how do I begin the process of getting my mind right, improving my mindset? Well, first I'll say, yeah, it is a process. It's an ongoing, everyday thing. You start with trying to minimize the negative influences that are around us. The people, the media. So you've heard my mantra, right? I say this all the time. You can support me and encourage me, or you can get the hell out of my life. And I stick to that passionately. Why? That's how I create a better mindset. And I'll say that to the TV. This news, this media, this crap that's coming at me, is this supporting me? Is this encouraging me? No, then you got to get turned off. Hey, people, family, friends, people around me, you can support me and encourage me, or you can get the hell out of my life. I got no time for that stuff. It's hard enough without surrounding myself with voices that are meant to work against me. It's not going to happen. That's how we start to get our mindset right. Make sure that you're getting good coaching and that your coach isn't putting up with a lot of bullshit from you. Everybody else in your world will put up with a lot of bullshit. You got to have somebody that'll talk straight to you. Mindset, folks, I agreed with the group. Mindset's everything. Nothing happens until we get our mindset right. But it's a process and it's hard work, and there will be days when it feels like everybody's working to keep your mind all junked up and full of noise. You're going to have to work and fight through it, but it's worth the fight. Now, this is Mike. Stick with me this week. We're going to go through all 5 areas of focus, and I want you to go out there today and make it happen for yourself.